Here we go. Last night, all eyes were on Hollywood watching the rise specifically of the Lakers. Since trading for Luka Doncic on February 2nd, the Lakers have gone 10-2 and have jumped from 5th in the West to 2nd. This is the latest into the season. They have been top 2 in the standings since the 2019-20 season when they won their last title. We love to be joined by senior NBA writer Brian Windhorst. So last night, Luka had his best shooting performance since he arrived in LA. So what more can you tell us about Luka finally rounding into form?
Well, Christine, if you go back to the beginning of the season, remember, Luka missed all of training camp with a calf injury. And when he came and started the year with the Mavericks, he had some rough shooting games for the first 7 or 8 games. And he shot a lot more with the Mavericks than he did with the Lakers. So he had the points, but he didn't shoot the ball great. Well, then about the 8th, 9th, 10th game, then all of a sudden you saw the normal Luka emerge. Guess what? He misses 6 weeks with the calf injury. He's a little bit rough, especially from long range for the first 7, 8 games. Last night, look at what you got. The last 2 games this weekend, little series against the Clippers, 31 points and 29 points. Luka, the offensive force, is waking up, and that is not good news for the rest of the Western Conference.
Yeah, it had been so long since we had seen him on the court, even before he got to LA. As a team, what have the Lakers shown that has you thinking that they can actually be contenders?
The defense just remains so impressive. They had another good set of defensive games against the Clippers. This is a team that had a chance to prepare for the Lakers. Obviously, it's a rivalry. We know that it matters to the Clippers because they boost their players' minutes. And the Clippers just weren't able to make a dent in it. They shot just 27% on three-point range in the 2 games. Even though Ivica Zubac had a really good game against the small interior on Friday, and Kawhi Leonard had his best offensive game of the season on Sunday, we still saw the Lakers really win the game at the defensive end. And that's without 2 starters playing. If they continue to play defense like this, they're going to stay in that number 2 seed.
Yeah, there were a lot of questions when Luka got there. We thought it was going to be a little bit long-term, this new change, this new Laker actually working in LA. But then figuring out defense, that was the biggest question that we had for them. So we'll see what they're able to do moving forward. Wendy, thank you as always. We had breaking news here on SportsCenter. How that goes. Over to the association. You see it. After 17 points last night, LeBron sits just 1 point shy of 50,000. Since turning 40, LeBron's been averaging over 26 points and 8 assists per game. Both top 10 in the league. The Lakers are also 20-8 in that span, which is the 3rd best record in the association. With us now is sports betting analyst Tyler Fulgham and senior NBA writer Brian Windhorst. All right, Tyler, LeBron James, MVP, his 5th.
Right.
What can you tell us from a betting perspective about the possibility of that happening?
From a betting perspective, the possibility, according to the sports books, is essentially 0% chance, Christine. He's not even listed at ESPN Bet as an option right now. In fact, there are only 5 players in the NBA that you can bet on at this moment. You see SGA as the big favorite with Nikola Jokic right behind him. And then there are 3 long shots in Giannis, Jason Tatum, and Towns. LeBron was last available to bet on January 1st. So after the new year, for his birthday, they took him out of this market altogether. So, Wendy, I don't know if any of your colleagues in the media that have a vote are starting to start a narrative about LeBron potentially being an MVP candidate, but right now, he's not even an option. The betting markets are saying it's a 0% chance.
And those betting markets are right. I don't agree with Karl-Anthony Towns even being the highest Nick on the board. I think Jalen Brunson would be there, but this is, as the odds have identified, this is a 2-player race. I do think if the Lakers finish very strongly and get the number 2 seed, you could see LeBron sneak on to 5th place on some ballots going forward.
Wendy may not be a bettor, but he knows what he's talking about.
Oh, of course, Wendy knows what he's talking about. We'll see what the Lakers end up doing as well. Wendy, Tyler, thank you so much. Is your shoe still squeaking? No,
a little bit.
His shoe's been squeaking. All right.
Brian, is there a world where they could potentially get to the NBA Finals?
I'm not going to disregard the Oklahoma City Thunder. I'm just not going to do it. I know a lot of people want to do it. I'm just not going to do it. They are my favorites to win the West. However, what I really want to see here and what has gotten me interested in the Lakers is how well they're defending. JJ just talked about it. They've been the number 1 defense since January 15th, which is a lot to do with that Austin Reeves number 2. They're playing great defense. Now, what I'm expecting to see is teams start to game plan a little bit differently now that they've got to look at him. Well, the reason that they're so much better defensively, they traded for Dorian Finney-Smith, which will never be forgotten footnote this year, but that is turning out to be a very important acquisition. Secondly, they got Jared Vanderbilt back. And third, as JJ Redick was just talking about, they got LeBron James playing with great defensive energy. So now, I want to focus on Friday and Sunday. The Timberwolves are not going to have Rudy Gobert tomorrow. Probably. I don't know if he's officially out. So, those Clipper games. Now, you know that Ty Lue is one of the best game planners in the NBA.
Well, he better be.
He's got Ivica Zubac. I want to see if Ty Lue has a game plan over those 2 games that he can try to exploit the Lakers defense, because I am starting to believe that the Lakers can make a run, not because it's just of Luka, but because they can defend. The defending is the basis for a playoff run, and they're showing it right now.
But you know the puzzle is not complete. And I'm not going to sit here and tell you the Lakers don't have a chance to win the West, because they do. They've got 2 of the top, whatever you want to say, 6 or 8 players in the NBA. Austin Reeves is coming along as that 3rd star. But they don't have a legitimate starting big man. They know it's a problem. That's why they overpaid to get Mark Williams before changing their mind. And Jackson Hayes is a nice, energetic lob catch guy for a dozen minutes per game. He's not a starting center on a championship team. They're going to have to overcome a hole in their roster to be able to come out of the Western Conference against Oklahoma City that has 2 legit bigs and against Nikola Jokic.
Heard it
Maybe
all
against the
before.
Heard it all before.
I heard it all. I've been hearing it for the last couple weeks. I heard it when they played against the Knicks with Karl Anthony Towns. They shut him down. I heard it just the past weekend when they played against the Nuggets with Jokic. Shut him down. Listen, man, the Lakers are playing some inspiring basketball. It's not just the big 3. I get the addition of Finney-Smith, but can we talk about Rui and how good he's been looking on both ends of the floor, the passion that he's playing with, how he's being featured in the offense, not just as a guy that's just being a spot-up guy or a dunker spot type of guy, but he's being featured where they're actually running plays for him. That is a bright spot. And Jackson Hayes, he's playing some phenomenal basketball. We didn't witness LeBron James turn water into wine. Okay? We didn't witness that.
Perk, look at this list, though. So you think that the Lakers...
Up an hour before the game, give or take, and Nico is sitting very plainly, in a sea of blue and gold, in a bright blue suit, sitting very leisurely on the scorer's table when Luka comes out to warm up. They are 15 to 20 feet apart. Luka is shooting 3s from the wing at one point, maybe 30 feet.
Yeah.
I am just sitting there watching it. I am sitting there watching it with Bill Duffy, who is Luka's agent.
Wow.
And,
okay.
Bill has been around the NBA for 40 plus years.
A long time.
He's known Luka since Luka was 14. And
he's known Nico Harrison for a long time too.
That's right. And he's just sort of watching with a smirk on his face. He's like, I've seen a lot of things in this league, and this is a special moment.
Sure is.
So, the arena's mostly empty. I mean, there's some fans in there, but like that to me, I thought was the beginning of amazing drama, and it kind of just wasn't. Luka had a good first shift, scored 10 points in the first quarter, made his first 3, and then really didn't make much scoring wise the rest of the game. Bontemps, the Mavericks, and not like it's an unheard of game plan. The Mavericks didn't want Luka to have 40 tonight, so they really came out and double teamed him a lot. And to his credit, he passed the ball. I think he had 12 assists. The Lakers had some, LeBron had a really big fourth quarter. But
Luka had his first triple-double as a Laker officially.
He did, but and he played a fine game. He just didn't play a special game. When he had 10 points or 8 points, whatever it is, coming out of the gate, I think we were all hoping to see some smoke. But he ends up going 6 of 17. He has 15 rebounds, 12 assists, 3 steals. He got in a couple of passing lanes, 2 blocks. He had a very effective game. He did not have a special game, and I guess we'll have to save that for April. But LeBron had a big fourth quarter, and Kyrie had an excellent game, almost carried him. Klay Thompson hit a bunch of 3s in the second half.
I assume there was no interaction pregame between Nico and Luka?
Nope,
okay.
no.
I just was making sure since you kind of stopped there.
Sorry. They, as far as I could tell, they never even looked at each other.
Yeah, that's what I figured.
But
Luka just saved that for the game.
Nico was there, and Luka was there, and like if either man had wanted to take it a step farther, they could have.
Yeah.
I remember I was at the game where Steve Ballmer. Remember when when the Clippers like told Blake Griffin that they were gonna retire his number, and then so he signed a 5-year contract, and then like 6 months later traded him
5 minutes later. Yes,
and Blake was really upset by it, and like the same moment happened with Steve Ballmer in the same arena. When he came back with the Pistons, I was there that night, and Steve Ballmer like waited for Blake to finish his shooting, and he tried to come over and talk to Blake, and Blake literally ran away from him. So what I was waiting to see was, would Nico try to walk over there? But here's the thing: there was so much media there, Bontemps, that it would not have been personal at all. It would have just been for show. So. Nico waited there. Luka did his thing. And when it was over, Nico went out one tunnel and Luka went out the other. And Nico sat in the bowl in a bright blue suit. That they showed on TV. Mark Cuban showed up. And there wasn't really drama after that.
No, I mean, the game was an interesting game. I think, we have talked about the Lakers defense. We talked about the other day. Let's see what it looks like going forward. I thought this game had a lot of concerning signs, I think, for the Lakers defense, if you're looking at it from a big picture standpoint. I'm waiting to get the official numbers from our stats and info people. We might have them before we're done. We might not. But I thought, you watched the game too. They gave up 1,000 wide open threes to Dallas in this game. Now, the Mavericks have a bunch of guys that can't shoot. So it was Dante Exum and some of these other guys throwing up shots that weren't likely to go in. So you could, I guess, argue, well, maybe that was part of the game plan, was let's let some of these not great shooters shoot the ball. But they did get a lot of open shots. JJ Redick on the broadcast with Allie Force going into the fourth quarter talked about the amount of offensive rebounds the Mavericks got as a problem. They had 14 offensive rebounds. This is a team without Derek Lively, Anthony Davis, and Daniel Gafford. They had their typical lineups out there, being big inside. Be interested to see how they would match up with the Lakers. It is a really compelling stylistic matchup between these two teams now after the trade, if they were to meet in a potential playoff series, which certainly would be something. But look, we talked about it the other day. When you have Luka and LeBron and Austin Reeves out there together, for all the defensive issues you have, and we had Austin Reeves guarding Kyrie, the bottom line, man, is they've won 15 out of 19, and they've got a shot at not only home court advantage, but maybe even getting up to second in the West, which is a remarkable thing for a team that we thought was probably going to be hovering somewhere around 6th, 7th, 8th or so in the West. And now not only has Luka, but has Luka back on the court and has a chance to make an even bigger run.
Yeah, and they've got a big homestand here. They can make some damage. They got 2 home games on this homestand with the Clippers back to back. So that'll be important. What happened in this game tonight? If I'm a Mavs fan, I'm not actually stressed about it. You're upset that you lost, and you're upset you don't have Luka, obviously. What happened in this game? JJ obviously, when he told Allie LaForce that, he went into the huddle and told the players that get on the boards, because what ended up happening in this game was the Mavericks' lack of a big man showed up massively down the stretch of this game. The Lakers made 11 baskets in the fourth quarter in the paint, 22 points in the paint in the fourth quarter,
and had a few, 2 or 3 of their baskets in the closing minutes came after pretty rough offensive possessions with easy putback baskets at the rim.
And LeBron, Jackson Hayes is just feasting right now on lobs. He's, Jackson Hayes is a fine player. He's not an elite offensive center. If they get a guy who's actually super talented at throwing down lobs, like a guy like Derek Lively, you can see how the Lakers are just going to have a lot.
The one thing Jackson Hayes can do is jump out of the gym. Like, he can catch the ball and dunk it, which is part of why I thought the Mark Williams trade was kind of weird to begin with, because you can manufacture center play with Luka Doncic and LeBron James and even Austin Reeves. And like that, Jackson Hayes is going to feast in terms of just getting efficient baskets at the rim.
What I think
to get his rhythm back after he came, it's only like 6-7 games. I think tonight was his 10th game with us, possibly. Him coming back from that calf injury that kept him out since Christmas. So, we got to continue to work our habits, and if we do that, we'll be fine.
It dawned on me when I was told perhaps we would talk tonight that 100 years ago it felt like you and I did this commercial, right? And at that time, Bron, I'm about 40, all right? Now, when I got to be 40, that was around the time I thought, I don't know if I can still dunk and not hurt myself, and I couldn't do certain things that I could do as a younger man. That clearly has not happened to you. I'm really sincerely interested in what the process is, Bron, at this stage. Rest and recovery, nutrition, sleep. I'm serious. Like, what has to happen for you to be what you are still?
No, everything. I mean, you just said it, Scott. Everything in the above, man. Nutrition, sleep, you know, making sure I take care of my body, cold tubs, hot tubs, whatever's out there to continue to try to rejuvenate my body and get my body prepared to go out and play every night. I love the game, and I'm in a position where I can continue to play at a high level even at my later stage. So, and I think the chair that you allowed me to steal from you in that first commercial, I think that's helped a lot too.
I bet it did. Hey, look, I tried to get it. They claimed that it's gone. It's probably in your house. You know what? It's got your name on it. We'll let you hold on to it. But
man, I appreciate that, Scott.
No doubt. So that was a long time ago, and the world's different now, right? The world 18 years ago didn't have podcasts and social media and the chatter that fuels the game. And look, I think we all saw the comments you had to say today about the game, and I'm just interested in this sincerely. What matters about the conversation that surrounds your game to you and the stars in the league? What about it is significant? Because I try to dismiss it as it relates to us, but I'm not you all. What matters to you?
Yeah. What matters to me when it comes to my generation and the younger generation that's in our league now is that, I mean, we play it for the love of the game. You know, we're not out here cheating the game. You know, we putting the grind in, we putting the time in. You know, we've always, gave up and gave props to the generation that came before us. Always bigged them up because we know without them it would not have been us. And we're just trying to carry on tradition. You know, my generation, me, Steph, KD, Russ, James, Kawhi, the rest of our crew. And then we got the younger generation that's doing their thing as well. So, we love what we do. And it's a responsibility for all of us to continue to press the game, push the game in a positive factor for all our fans all over America and all over the world, because it's the best, most beautiful game in the world. When you watch basketball, you're basically listening to music. You're listening to jazz music, R&B music, rap music, hard, heavy metal music, everything essential with that. So, it's a beautiful game. We're all in a position to play this game, and we're here for a reason, but, we don't never take it for granted. So I hope everybody see that when we hit the floor.
Right on. I wanted you to be able to say that to those that I know have an appetite for what it is you have to say. Also, I know you're sweating and it's time to go. It's a pleasure to cross paths, man. I hope we don't have to wait so long to do it again, all right? You stay well until next time.
Man, absolutely, SVP. Always good talking to you, my brother.
And we're going to have, hear from McMahon and everything like that. And it was a quality game in terms of it was close late and everything. And the Lakers got a good win. They've won 9 out of 11. But I just didn't think it was a compelling game. It had a chance to be compelling.
It wasn't compelling enough for Brian to have his sleep cut into even further.
I have to get up at 3:45 to be on 7 a.m.
Like I said,
Eastern Sports Center.
Cut into even further.
Well, it's not like I'm like, oh, I need my 8 hours. Anyway, forget about that. Okay. So I will just say, before we talk about this game, the most amazing thing that happened tonight from my vantage point, Bontemps, is that I was out on the court pregame, and Nico Harrison, the Mavericks general manager, was wearing, and you probably saw it if you watched the game at all.
They showed him during the game, yes.
He was wearing a bright blue Mavericks color suit, okay?
By the way, real quick, because we talked about this the other day, full credit to Nico Harrison for showing up, and full credit to Nico Harrison for wearing a Mavericks bright blue colored suit to this game.
He picked that suit out when they left on the road trip, and he knew he was going to do it.
That's right.
And he came out before the game and sat right on the scorer's table, which he has done repeatedly in a number of occasions. I have spoken to Nico Harrison pregame, sitting where he would sit on the scorer's table. That was not an unusual thing for him to do.
He's out before games. He's consistently out before Mavericks games.
And so was Rob Pelinka. I spoke to both of them pregame, and they spoke to each other. That was on social media. Frank Vogel, who's a coaching consultant for the Mavericks.
I did not know that.
Yes.
Wow.
Attended the game and was out. I don't want to say they hugged, but embraced Rob Pelinka before the game. That was very interesting. Rob Pelinka, of course, fired him 2 years ago.
Yes, Jason Kidd was on Frank Vogel's staff when they won the title.
Right.
I did not know that Frank was doing that for Jay Kidd. That's fascinating.
He was there wearing his Mavericks gear. He lives in Los Angeles. And look, when you've raised a banner, when you've put a star on the center court, you may come walking through Crypto.com arena with your head held high, but
Sure.
So that was just, I was pregame interesting, right? You know, Frank Vogel's out there.
That's all pretty good. Yeah.
Rob was, you know, had a great chat with him pregame. Rob was, you know, we talked about the tribute that they were doing for Anthony Davis, that they had they were honoring him. The Mavericks, this is the Mavericks' last scheduled visit. I'd love to see a playoff game. This is the Mavericks' last scheduled visit this year. So even though AD wasn't playing, they wanted to honor him, and AD was out there, and he talked about what they had planned for that, and you know, everybody was in good spirits. Nico was in good spirits. You know, Nico was very out there. Okay, here's what we got to. Now here comes I have to say, for me, the most compelling moment of the night. And
Sure.
for a February pregame, Bontemps, the most compelling February pregame moment I've ever seen, when Luka comes out to warm